Hey, what's going on, guys? I just want to do this short video. I'll do a Q&A too if I see anybody pop in there. But I was scrolling around Instagram, and I've been really enjoying Stoicism recently because it's a really practical philosophy. And if you look it up, it'll even say so. It's very practical. And with all the things going on in the world, one of the things that I think that will help our situation is integrity. And I was on a coaching call a few weeks ago, and we were talking about life and how we got to make money and do all these different things. And I said, well, with this year, can you commit to ruthless spiritual integrity? And so what that means is, so many people compromise what's most important to them or what might be right. Like, we take the easy way out. And I feel like that's why we're in this mess, is that, we've had the people who are willing to compromise or be compromised get into positions of power, and they order around other people. So, for instance, some people are upset with the police because they get ordered around to follow out these orders. And where are those orders coming from, right? You go all the way to the top, and that's probably where you're going to find the corruption. But right down at the bottom, you're going to find good people. A lot of those police officers wanted to help people. They're some of the probably the best character among us. Some of them. Now, some of them have the characteristic of wanting power. And I did law and security and police foundation, so I know that to be true. There was some people in there that I definitely don't think should have been police officers. But so the idea is, how do we connect with our integrity? How do we maintain that? Spiritual integrity is just integrity anyways. And when I had it's funny because doing the podcast on spirituality, and sometimes I get a guest that is quote unquote really spiritual, and they're a New York Times bestselling author or world-renowned spiritual human being, and they are. But sometimes, like, guests that I don't expect will say some of the most spiritual things that really hit me. And one of them recently was with David Weiss. If you don't know who he is, he's one of the main flat earthers going around. It's a very compelling podcast. I actually learned a lot about the earth. It doesn't matter if it's flat, round, or a triangle. When you go down that rabbit hole, you learn a lot of things that you did not know. Obviously, lots about NASA if you haven't looked that up, but that's a side note. But what I like to ask people is, like, all right, well, if the world isn't what I thought it was, or what anybody really thought it was, like, what do you think is going on here? What's the meaning of life? And he said, the meaning of life is, or the purpose of life is not to sell your soul. And if you think about that, how often do we sell our soul in like little ways, like little compromises, right? It's always this little compromise that we do, right? This little compromise, and then it's another little compromise, and it's another little compromise. Then all of a sudden, we don't know who we are. We keep selling out and selling out and selling out, and we didn't honor our own integrity. And so that's what I kind of see happening in the world right now, is that if we can really connect with our integrity, what's right, what's moral, what's ethical. And again, this is not to be confused with Luciferian manipulation, because, that doesn't mean you get to impose anything on anyone else. Doesn't matter what you believe. So if you believe that someone has to wear a mask, or they have to have a vaccine, or they have to do anything that you say, if they are not causing you harm, then they can go about their business, or they're not harming someone else in your view, right? If somebody is, attacking another human being, then yeah, that's a moral, ethical, and human responsibility to go help that person. But if they're going around, and just doing their business, you have no right to, enforce anything upon them. And so that definition, again, by Rudolf Steiner, anything that seeks to restrict or bind, by definition, is Luciferian. And so if you're trying to restrict or bind people, you're probably not in integrity. So that's all I wanted to say, is ruthless spiritual integrity. How can we do that? And we can do that through acts of kindness. I was speaking with David Lonebear the other day. He's been ill. Luckily, he is better. He had some health issues, and now he's doing better, thankfully. But we were just kind of talking about some stuff, and he always said, love doesn't exist, and that would really piss off a lot of people when he would say that. I'd go to the talks, he would say, love doesn't exist, and people would get really upset. And he goes, well, we can't measure it, but we can measure kindness. And so Yeah, love, for me, like, yeah, I get that when everything is love and we go to, and I've been to those spaces where everything is love and where it's all oneness and it's all fantastic. But how is love exemplified? And so I feel like kindness, when he talks about kindness, is like, okay, that makes sense because you don't need to love them to be kind. You could actually really despise them, and still be kind. So, from those points of view and his perspective, I kind of get where he was saying with that is like, go out there and do the action of kindness. Go out there, do it in your writing and do it in your work. And if we can really align with like our vocation, who we are, who we came here to be, what we came here to learn, what we come here to give. And I see that so many people want to connect with that. They want to connect with community. They want to connect with right living. In Buddhism, they talk about the eightfold path, right? And one of them is right livelihood. And it might take some time to get there. It might take an apprenticeship. It might take some sacrifice. And we could be totally spiritually congruent and work a job as a stepping stone to the next level. And at the same time, we want to make sure that we're not compromising our integrity and our values and everything else that's really meaningful and important to us. And so that's the challenge this year, as we go forward is can you be, you know, ruthless with your spiritual integrity, do those things, commit to helping your community, to doing what's right, to standing up, to when the right time is, to just going in your community and supporting how you can, being a great family member, seeing if someone in your network or and your surroundings could use your support. I think very often in the spiritual community, myself included, very much so, can forget about family or my sister or my brother or someone that might need my support. And so, yeah, just thinking about that as well. So that's all I want to say today. And so if you guys have any questions, I'm thinking about doing a weekly Q&A or more often. Some people have requested that. So more than happy to do that. Should probably set up a time to do that. So just thank you guys for watching this video, and some amazing podcasts are coming down the pipe. So yeah, take the challenge. See if you can be ruthless with your spiritual integrity moving forward in 2021. And we're all going to get through this together. I see massive solutions coming out. So don't be afraid. Look for solutions. Connect with people who are like-minded, who are like-spirited, who want to build a better world of freedom. This whole thing is going to fall down on its head, but it might get a little bit squirrely before it does. So you guys rock. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.